be aware, they've turned out the hazard lights on that pace car. They are set up. And I believe the pace car is going to jump off the track. We are going to be going green. This is the formation lap. I think a couple of these MG competitors did not make it because I'm only seeing about 10 cars.
I'm seeing a lot of blinking on the thing here,
yeah,
so
absolutely.
I'm not sure what's going on.
Some of our racers were unable to make this race, but right away,
number 28, Jeff Harold.
Jeff Harold is taking the lead in that 62 MGB. He is pulling away from that. That's another gorgeous black and gold card, not belonging to the Zappas.
Yeah, Zappas, why don't you recruit this guy? He's got a black and gold car. We're going to be all Dolans and all Zappas one time, sooner or later, right?
Yes. All right, so here we go. And we are set up at the Panther Pass Bridge. This is going to be the last race of the day. MG featured 100th anniversary of the mark. MG standing for Morris Garage.
Morris Garage, correct.
They started.
Here they are. They are green and they are hooking it down here.
All right, a little bit
Jeff
of
Harold putting some gap. Number 28.
Okay, right behind him, Dolan in that MGA, and he knows how to drive it. Chris Longo right behind him in an MGB GT.
That's the red one with the hard top, everybody.
Right. We've already seen 2 of these cars race, so we wonder, are they on fresh tires, or did they just go ahead and say, I'm going to send it?
Well, a lot of these guys are probably running the same tires for years, man. So these might be probably some of these can't get race tires. These are running on remakes of vintage street tires.
Yes.
That is a beautiful midget right there. What is that, number 90? Can't see the blue one there. Beautiful, beautiful cars, and a beautiful track. This has just been a wonderful day. I don't know how many times I can say beautiful in a row without sounding like a fool, but everything is gorgeous.
We are starting to get a little cloud cover. It's not going to rain, but I think that's going to cool off the track a little bit, which in this situation is going to work in favor of those MGs.
You're right. Actually might help out, give them a little bit more grip as their tires are not likely to gum up and get a little slippery.
Yeah, but right away, Charles Dolan is reminding Jeff that he has done this before, and he is on the bumper of that black MGB with his 57.
Do you think Charles Dolan will walk out of here as the only 2-time winner?
No, it could happen, absolutely.
He's definitely not giving Jeff Harold any room to breathe in his 62 MGB. And what's that, a 5-year difference, but really a world of difference between the MGA and the MGB. One of them designed in the 50s and one of them designed in the 60s.
That's okay. It's still tractor motors all the way around, really.
Probably right.
All right, you're seeing some of that suspension articulation. I do believe Jeff was hitting the bump stops coming through that one. And don't forget that MGB GT, Chris Longo, is not very far behind as well.
Yep. Some of these cars have 1,350cc motors. Some of them have 1,500cc motors. Manley Ford in the GT, that's a 1,500. Oh, no, we got to,
Yeah, and so there we go. So we've got our first couple of cars that have crossed the line. Yeah, that is the 52 MGD TD Manley Ford. That's a really good-looking car. We just got a good shot of that one as we're coming through. This is down the straightaway, one of those great drone shots. We're going to cut to an interview, but like we've said all day, stay with us because the racing is still going to be happening on the lower screen. So we're going to go over there. We're going to talk to one of the racers. Stay tuned. Pittsburgh Vintage Grand Prix. I'm Christian Ward.
I'm standing here with Manley Ford. Manley has been racing with us for quite a few years. In fact,
too many.
Too many, he says. Too many, not too many.
Yeah.
A 9-time, I think, winner of a race here at Schenley Park. Manley Ford.
You mentioned that last night at the party we were at, and I did not remember that I had won 9 times. I remember twice winning, one really great race against my friend George Schaefer in the rain one year, and a couple of others in 2 different cars that I've raced here over the years, but I believe this will be the 25th time that I've actually raced at Schenley Park since 1987.
Schenley Park, our races have a category called the Legends of Schenley Park. You are one of those, which is racers who have been here 15 years or more.
That is quite an honor, and they gave us these really nice little chairs with the Legends of Pittsburgh Vintage Grand Prix, which I treasure greatly, and it's very, very, very nice to be associated with this event in such a way.
Manley is an MG driver. This is the 100th anniversary of MG this year.
It is indeed. They started making MGs in 1923, and they're still making them. A lot of people don't know this, but MGs are still made in China. The MG brand was purchased when things sort of sank in the West in the late 2000s by Shanghai Automotive SAIC in China, and they still build MG branded cars. They're not many sports cars, but they're sporty sedans, and they sell them in the UK and other places around the world, but not in the United States. But anyway, the MG brand is still out there, and there are a lot of MG fans all over the world.
So you're racing a TD?
My race car is a 1952 MG TD, a car that I've owned since the early 80s when I found it in a carport in Metairie, Louisiana, and eventually turned it into a dedicated vintage race car. Before that, I raced an MGTF, which was half the time a street car, and then on weekends I turned it into a race car, which was a lot of work.
You call this Old Blue, is that right?
Old Blue. Actually, another fellow vintage racer, Frank Mount from Canada, nicknamed it that, and the name sort of stuck.
I love it. Now, you also build race cars for other drivers.
Well, I managed to get myself sucked into building cars for other drivers. I built a car for a gentleman who actually was passed away before I could finish it, and I ended up selling it to a gentleman who runs the Miller Ferry, which runs to Put-in-Bay, which is an event similar to this. But yeah, I built basically a clone of this car. But I also build engines. I just finished an engine for Steve Conson, who's one of my competitors here, for one of his cars. But I'm trying to get out of that business.
Well, have a great weekend. Good luck to you, Manley. Always wonderful to have you back here.
Well, it's great to be back here, and always great to talk to you, Ted.
Thanks.
Thank you, Ted, for bringing us that great interview of Manley Ford. I wasn't sure if that was a person or a dealership when I was doing the notes earlier, but now we know he's not only a guy, but he's a great guy who's been racing MGs for a long time here. Not his first MG race ride.
Not at all. And we had some great shots of Old Blue as he came through there. Now, it looks like Jeff has really worked on establishing a good lead, but not too big of a lead. So he's about a second and a half in front of Charles Dolan in that 57. Why, there's Manley right there coming through the corners. He's moving away from front of the VIP tent. All right, I would offer that he is still not looking to spare that car. It doesn't look like it's moving that fast compared to some of the 2-liter stuff, but that car is absolutely moving to the max of its capabilities.
Much older. World War II really decimated the English car groups. Many of them, for years after World War II, had to continue producing the designs that they were designed pre-war. And the MGTD and the MGTF are both representative samples of that. The TC, which they were building until the late 40s, still had wooden frames.
Oh, absolutely. And you can't bring up the history of the MG without talking about its influence on not just American sports car culture, but sports car culture in general. GI, stationed in England during World War II, got a chance to drive these little cars, and a lot of them brought them back. And then they started pulling the fenders off of them, making them a little bit lighter, and running them through their little town race courses back in the 50s, enjoying the nimble and agility of these tiny little cars, even though they weren't very powerful. And as it says, it started from there and everyone starts racing. So if you're into really racing at all, especially road course racing, you've got to give some respect to MG. And speaking of MGs not getting any respect right now, Charles Dolan, I'm sure he is very appreciative of that black car in front of him, but he has every intention of getting around it.
Yeah, we can see how much skinnier that MGA is to the MGB, because that is, like I said, light years of design difference. We're talking about the MGs here. If you've ever heard the term little British sports car, that's pretty much what they're talking about. Again, if you were in the 60s and 70s and you appreciated road racing versus drag racing, you probably wanted an MG or a Jaguar and not Mustang or Plymouth Satellite or GT, whatever.
Well, even in the 50s, there was just no comparison. You had small cars like this MGA, and I do believe, yes, he has gotten around.
Oh,
Jeff
Charles
Harold.
Dolan from Pittsburgh,
there he
PA.
goes. So just like that, and there was just no comparison. And while America was pursuing that with the flathead Fords and your 32 Roadsters, those cars were not designed to turn, so they were running in a straight line. But it was the same concept: make the car as light and nimble as possible. Just the MGs, they wanted them to turn. But this is some great racing. But Jeff has not absolutely seeded that spot, so we can expect to see this kind of tight racing. So we are just 3 laps into this event, and you see Charles Dolan is about to take the lead as he crosses the start-finish line. But
Yeah,
Jeff Harold, there it is. Jeff Harold's right behind him, and just a lap back is Coben Sunderman, who just crossed the line as well, and he's got a 69 MGB. That's that 10 top that you were talking about earlier.
Yeah, we're going to go to a commercial in just a minute, but I want to tell you that we are not going to leave the track. The picture-in-picture will be showing the commercials while we continue to watch the race. We'll see if Charles Dolan and Jeff Harold can keep bringing it here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Schenley Park, it is the Pittsburgh Vintage Grand Prix. We'll be back in just 1 minute.
Thanks to our sponsors. And while you were gone, Dolan took that lead again. Jeff is just 3 seconds behind him. And third place, Coben Sunderman in another MGB. He is on it right behind that gorgeous number 28 car. So there's your lap times. Charles Dolan 2:23, Jeff with a 2:25. And I don't think anyone told Charles that this is the last race of the day. Look at that as he comes out of that corner ahead of the start finish line.
I think he knows it's the last race of the day because he is leaving nothing on the track. He is giving it all.
Yes,
I don't
is
think
just
anyone
throwing down. He is going to leave. There's going to be no pads left on those brakes and no tread left on those tires, and good on you for it.
So I already asked him, what do you do if your brother has a Fiat and you have a Lotus? What do you do if you don't win anything and your brother wins 2 different races?
Well, you know, you're just going to have to come up with an excuse to go home early or buy a lot of beer to shut him up.
It's going to be a very difficult Thanksgiving table in the Dolan boys' household.
Or a hilarious one. It all depends
true.
on your perspective. So there you can see just the fractions of a second between second and third, and that's Jeff and Coben right there. But Charles, look at him go right now. He is using all of that Panther Hall bridge, and they're coming in that corner, keeping his foot firmly in that gas pedal, very collected as he comes around, and those 2 MGBs right behind him battling it out for second place.
Yeah, that's actually a great race happening right there. They're also shucking and shiving through all of these different turns here, coming by the Westinghouse Lake.
Little bit lockup.
Still again, putting it right on the edge and getting near that curb, but not touching it. Good job there.
The little lockup on
Dolan.
that front inside tire as he's trying to make that turn in that front engine car. Here we are at turn 13, just around the corner from that is they make a slight elevation change, and then they're going to head down towards the switchbacks, climbing back up that hill. So in a couple of seconds, we'll see.
Let's see how hard these guys hit it here.
All right. Just the slightest bit of oversteer. And as soon as he crests that road crown, turns into power on oversteer. The 2 MGBs hang into the inside, using that crown to their advantage.
Yeah. Charles Dolan taking the theoretical line, but maybe not the best line on the pavement here today.
I think he's the best line for his car. He clearly is communicating well with that vehicle, but it is bouncing around that suspension.
Jeff Harold and Corbin Sutherland still battling it out there. I don't know if you saw that on the way out.
Yeah, absolutely. Here we come to the switchbacks as they start to descend back down the hill. Both sides of this surrounded by stone walls. This is not where people like to make mistakes, and all 3 of those cars coming in there, they got the stamp on the envelope, and they're going to send it.
That's right. Look at this great elevation change here. It's a beautiful track. Look at Charles Dolan, you are absolutely sending it. Not that Jeff Harold and Coben Sutherland aren't.
We've got a pass. He's going to make room. He's trying to come in there in second place. Oh, and absolutely, Sonderman takes second place and now has set his sights squarely on that red MGA of Charles Dolan.
Not a whole lot of race left. I don't know if he can close the gap. It's about 3 seconds right now.
All right, we are 7 laps into this one, and this is the way to end the day, especially here at the Pittsburgh Vintage Grand Prix. These vintage cars, and they are sending it hard.
Another shot of the Panther Hollow Bridge in the shadow of Pittsburgh, University of Pittsburgh's Cathedral of Knowledge. And here they come.
There's
See
Charles.
the gap between Charles and Coben.
Oh, it is not
closing.
that much of a gap. He is absolutely closing that gap down. They are sending it into turn one. No lift from either one of them. And they are working those chassis all the way around the corner.
Again, hope the police aren't watching because they just, again, ignored that stop sign.
Ooh, oh, now that was an absolutely gorgeous entry into that corner. I think he knows that second place is coming for him, and he can't afford to make any mistakes. And there it is. That's the number 48, 69 MGB.
Yeah, Jeff Harold was definitely holding up Coben Sunderman, who had a lot more left in the tank.
Yeah.
Could have gone around a lot quicker.
But Jeff did just set a new personal best with a 2:24.1, which is faster than some of the other cars that have run. In fact, everybody has run a 2:21.
Well, Coben's got a 2:21 under his belt, so
Yeah, he
he's
does.
definitely cooking. We don't know. Coben might run him down or he might run out. These are timed races, by the way. Mental
Yes.
and everyone out there watching on whatever streaming or television.
If you're watching the live stream, we're going to have to shut down in about 18 minutes. But if you're on any of the other mediums, stay with us if we're not done.
Yeah, but these are 20-minute races, so there is no specific amount of laps that will get done. They will throw the flag on the leader right after that 20-minute mark. So
That's going to be in about 4 minutes and 15 seconds, it looks like.
probably only a couple laps left, but let's see if Coben Sunderman from Turtle Creek, PA can run down Charles Dolan from Pittsburgh, PA in the 57 MGA, or will Charles Dolan become our two-time winner? Don't forget, he made the pass in the last laps in his race.
He did, and he is a masterful driver, and he is getting everything out of that gorgeous MGA. Well done, Charles, regardless of how this plays out. Here's another great shot of this gorgeous track, Schenley Park, right here in downtown Pittsburgh. We do have a quick interview we're going to go to in about a half a minute, so we'll set that up there, but we're going to hand it off down to Ted. In the meantime, though, keep an eye on this. He is absolutely closing that gap. Coben, now having gotten around, has reduced Charles's lead to just over 2 seconds.
Yep, and I think we're going to throw it down to an interview of Chris Longo from Verona, Pennsylvania, who is number 07, Verona, PA, one of those tin top MGBs. Our good friend Ted, the voice of the Pittsburgh Vintage Grand Prix, talked to him yesterday. Let's see what they said.
Chris Longo here is standing in front of his race car. It's an MGB GT, as you can probably see. Chris raced last weekend at Pit Race we had kind of different categories last weekend, running in medium bore tin tops.
Correct.
This is a tin top.
Correct, yes. I've always liked the MGBs, but was real fond of the MGB GT for its rigidity. But I just like the style of it. It was designed by an Italian. I'm Italian, so I don't know if that had anything to do with it or not. But
I like the look of the MGB GT as well. So I think we split up the group last weekend because we had so many medium bore cars, but we have a medium bore race this weekend. But you're racing in two races, the medium bore race and also the MG race.
Yes. Since it's 100 years for MG this year, they decided to do an all MG race, which is real exciting. So yeah, I'll be racing in two races, the 2-liter class and then the MG class. So
now that really puts a lot of pressure on the car, doesn't it, to do a weekend and then come back and do another the next weekend?
Right. Well, I looked at the schedule for this weekend, and the 2-liter class, which has most of the MGBs in it, and then the small bore class has midgets and MGAs. The medium bore was running right before the MG race. I said, we might want to change that because we won't have enough time to even get fuel in our cars. So they squeezed the Formula Fords in between us. So that gives us a little bit of breather room. So it'll be fun. It'll be a lot of fun.
I just also want to mention that we spoke with Manley Ford, who also, in addition to racing, builds some MG race cars. And you build MGBs.
I do. I have a business. It's called MGB Classics, and I maintain, restore, and just try to keep these little guys on the road as much as possible. And pretty much any little British sports car, Triumph, Austin Healey.
Now and then when you go on to your website, you can see cars for sale.
Yes. There's always at least one, and I'm usually working on one to put up for sale. And it's kind of a wide range. You can buy a full restored car or a so-called driver, and then I help people maintain their cars. So.
It's called MGB Classics, and the driver and the...
All right, looks like we just had a slight cutout on that one, but there is that MGB right now that he was just talking about. And Chris had obviously also run his GTV6, which he said he was going to do in that interview, and did quite well. So he is also sat on the podium this weekend, and he's currently running 4th. We've still got Charles Dolan in that MGA in the lead, 4 seconds in front of Coben.
Yeah, Jeff Harold right after that in his MGB. And then after Chris Longo in 4th place is Kurt Barnes in his MG TD 1350. So that's a much smaller motor, much older car. And then the TDs are racking it up because right after that is Steve Cosin in his 53 MG TD.
Oh, and as you mentioned, he is leaving nothing, three-wheeling it through that corner. That's some exciting racing. That's how you end a weekend. Oh, this is just fantastic.
Yeah, he's put a gap on Coben. Coben is 3.7 seconds back from Turtle Creek, Pennsylvania, 1969 MGB. So either Coben has decided that he's going to put it on the trailer and have just a great time, or Charles Dolan has absolutely outpaced the competition. Probably a little bit of both.
Yes, this is just fantastic. This is a great series. It's just all these MG's cars. Look at the suspension working through there. That car is bouncing because we said 100 times, oh, a little bit of a power on oversteer as he exits that corner. This is a normal city street. We had Al on the interview just come through. He rides his bicycle through here. People bring their dogs, but they block it off one time a year, and that time of year is now, the Pittsburgh Vintage Grand Prix. Check this out. Send this to your friends. Send it to everybody. Put it on your social medias with the hashtag PVGP.
Yeah, we'll go down keep going down the leaderboard here. Manley Ford, we talked to him in his MGTD. Lynn Grimshaw, number 8. He's in 8th place from Williamsburg, Ohio, in a 66 MGB. Thomas Dick, Winchester, Virginia, in a 62 MG 1622 Mark II. Not really sure what that is. We haven't seen that much on screen. But after that, Thomas Wilcox, number 21, from Rockford, Illinois, in a 66 midget. And then I think that wraps it up there. I don't think those people on timing and scoring have turned a lap. So they may have put it on the trailer already. Whoa, very loose.
Whoa.
Stolen.
You crazy person. Well done.
Making sure
man.
it gets on the trailer. Why did you back it off just a little bit, Charles? This is 7/10 racing here
That's
at
just
Schenley
a
Park,
really
Pittsburgh,
big 7.
PA.
It's fine.
Yeah.
It's probably fine. All right, we got another MGA right there just showing that 147 as it was coming through. And that is Thomas Dick. We were just talking about him. Another gorgeous car on that one. So here it is. And a little bit of a difference you can see in the style on this one. He's not sending it as hard. Now, keep watching. We're going to cut to commercial. This is going to be wrapping up pretty quick. All right, stay on there. We're going to have 2 MGAs passing. Hey, welcome back. It looks like somebody promised Charles Dolan some pizza because he is absolutely sending it. But if Coben wins, who's now reduced that lead to just, I'd say, 2 car lengths, right as we're wrapping up this race.
Hey, quick shout out to our sponsors, Baird Financials. You know, a terrible thing to do with all your money is to go vintage racing or racing of any type. But if you're in the process of having some money, why don't you check out Baird Financials? Of course, we saw Caliente Pizza and Marikey in that spot there. So all great people working with us to make sure the Pittsburgh Vintage Grand Prix goes off without a hitch. Not going off without a hitch is Charles Dolan, because he is still cooking, and Coben Sunderman is catching up. We saw Charles getting a little loose during the commercials. Sometimes slow and controlled is actually the fastest way around the track. He might be overcooking a little. What do you think?
He might be. It's the end of the day. The car's tired, the tires are tired, the oil's tired, and that car's already gone race one time. So this is going to be a fun one. Hey, while you're checking this out real quick, scroll down, hit that like and subscribe button. We're only going to be here for some of you about another 6 minutes or so. But if you're watching it on YouTube or something like that, come back and see us. We will still be available on there. Send this to your friends, tell them how cool it is, and start making your plans to come to the Pittsburgh Vintage Grand Prix next year.
Yeah, and if you're watching on TV, why not fire up the old computer and go to pvgp.org and finish watching the races with us?
Absolutely.
A little difficult.
Oh no! oh, the race is over. That's what has happened. And it looks like Charles Dolan is getting that case of Helltown Brewing fresh on his heels still as that number 48 of Coburn Sunderman. That was a truly wonderful race, and I will bet my paycheck for this weekend that those two competitors are going to get out, shake hands, and hug, because that's the entire vibe that's been going on all weekend. Louis Chinetti Jr. was talking about how everyone here is smiling, and why wouldn't they? It has just been such a wonderful event. And here comes our third place, the number 28. He started out in the lead and made zero mistakes.
Yeah,
they just muscled around him.
Jeff Harold in his 1962 MGB taking third place. Coburn Sunderman from Turtle Creek, PA, 1969 MGB. And, of course, the only two-time winner of the weekend. Actually, everybody's a winner this
Everyone's
weekend.
a winner.
But yeah, Charles Dolan, the only one that's going to probably take home 2 cases of that beer, is in his 57 MGA.
If his brothers don't drink it.
That's true. Managed to win not only the small bore, but also the 100 years of MG race. We are going to have all of the podium interviews with Ted Sawyer in just a moment as they take off their safety gear. This has been a wonderful time.
It really has. Oh, 2 races in one day, and it's not brutally hot, but it isn't exactly cool either. So he's getting some water in him. He's basically wearing a fireproof quilt like we all do when we go racing. But there you are. See, there's 2 great competitors. Lot of respect, lot of love for the sport. This is exactly what racing's supposed to be like, and I have loved watching every time when they get out of these cars on there. It's got to slide off those arm restraints. Mandatory when you're running an open cockpit car to keep your arms in the case of something so you don't get pinned if the car flips over. And, of course, your third place right over there, Jeff Harold easing out of that car as well. And I am no doubt all of them probably going to need someone's got a bottle of water for him. That's good to know.
Yep. Got to stay hydrated out there to stay safe, whether you're in a race car or not. But lots of things making sure to stay safe, including all of that fire gear, all of those roll cages, and all of the track workers here at the Pittsburgh Vintage Grand Prix. Flaggers. Everybody's trying to keep everybody safe. It is just great. Now, as mentioned, if you are watching this live stream on the web page, it is going to wrap up here in about 2.5, 3 minutes. Oh, no, on the TV. If you're watching if you're watching the live stream on the TV, if you're one of the locals here. So we want to thank you very much for tuning in, but you should just pop over to the computer, pull out your phone, head on over there to the Pittsburgh Vintage Grand Prix, pvgp.org, or you can find us on YouTube and keep watching this. But if you've got someplace you got to be, we want to thank you for your time. Thank you for tuning in. It's been a blast, and we've loved having you here for it. Yeah, we are going to go down. We are going to go down to Ted in just a moment with all those winners. They're all having a good time, making sure they get hydrated before they step up and receive their flags, their trophies, their awards, and their, of course, Helltown beer. Ted, are you ready to take us? We'll go down to the winner's circle to you.
Wrangle the rest of the drivers to come up here to the podium. But your race winner is here, and that's Peter Dolan. Calling him Charlie all race long, but you know there are a lot of racing Dolans, and they're all successful. So this is Peter, and he won the race in car number 5, and that is one fast MGA.
It's a lot of machine. It's a beautiful track. You know, getting used to driving Charlie's car was a little fun, but. Great competition from the back of the pack all of a sudden in the rearview mirror on the last maybe 3-4 laps you were there. So that made me put the throttle down and less brake. But fantastic event. Thank you, everybody who volunteered, helped, worked, sweated, whatever everybody did, drove to put this together. This was an incredible event. Thank you.
Peter, we really thought another couple of laps and there might be somebody else who was taking the checkered flag first.
I was waiting for that news for so long.
Let's talk to second place, Coburn, because I don't know whether you know it, but you set by far the fastest lap of the race relatively early on, like maybe by 2 seconds. And so you were really gaining the whole way. And we thought that you could get by Peter there at the end, but he pulled out some laps at the end.
Yeah, it was great. This is my second Grand Prix, and I've been coming to this since I've been probably 8 years old, probably one of the first ones. And I'm so excited to be able to race here, so excited to be able to be with these guys and everything that everybody does here to make this happen. I've been seeing the inside of what's happening now more with the race, and all the volunteers are just so amazing. They do so much, so I'm just so thankful for them.
Thanks for a great show. It's really fun to watch you gaining places, and it's always great to see real competition up here. I know that you drivers, as drivers in vintage racing, particularly here at Schenley Park, are often urged to not go 10/10ths. But when you get the helmet on and the engine's running and there's a guy ahead of you, you're not going to tone it down.
Actually, whenever we're driving around here with the camber, you're driving in the middle of the road, so you're not going 10/10ths all the way to the outside. You're just driving to what you can do on the road, and so you can go up to that line, but you're not pushing 10/10ths no matter what you're doing.
When you see the walls, they really slow you down into the corners. You know?
You're not supposed to look at the walls, though.
The camber is what I'm worried about around here. Stay with the camber.
So tell me, Jeff, about the camber, because often in these turns you're on the wrong side of the road.
Yeah, I did that rather impressively going into the hay bales. If anybody has a highlight film, when he passed me fair pass, he came up from behind, was quicker, but I challenged him going into the hay bales. Next thing I knew, I was doing one of these. You know?
We did see that the gap fell from 2 seconds to about 22 seconds.
Yeah, well, you got to pick up the pieces. I tried to give Pete a little worry the first lap or two. He's in an unfamiliar car. Did he confess? Never drove this car before.
Yeah, but he knows his way around a race car.
Well, anyway, thanks to everybody. Thanks to all the fans.
Congratulations, Jeff Harrell. What a great podium for the final race of the weekend. It is the MG 100th anniversary race here during the 41st annual Pittsburgh Vintage Grand Prix. Thanks so much for everyone coming out and enjoying the weekend and supporting the PVGP. Thanks to the racers. Thanks especially to the volunteers, the corner marshals, the safety people, the grid work, the paddock people, the people up in the golf course, putting cars on the car shows, and running the merchandise booths and so on. It takes hundreds and hundreds of volunteers. So volunteers, thank you so much. And we will see you next July.